Let me show you something else that is considered financial violence. We're going to take a look at this loan right now, because here's what I heard on the news yesterday. And I'm telling you, this is financial advice given out nationally, and it's so commonplace, everybody believes it, but no numbers are associated with it to prove it's true. I want you to think about every piece of financial advice that you've ever received. And did anybody give you the numbers to prove to you that this was the right thing to do? And that if you change, this is how it's going to benefit you financially with numbers. Okay, so here's what I heard. If you need to buy a house now, it would be best if you can wait for the interest rates to come down. If you need to buy a car or a house. But if you can't wait, then go ahead, get it at the higher interest rate. And then when things come down, you can refinance. All right. If you've heard that, put a number 1 in the chat. If you've ever heard that, go ahead and purchase now, but you can always refinance to a lower rate when the time comes. Can you put a number 1 in the chat if you've ever heard that? Anybody? Okay. All right. Rita says she's heard that. All right. And I'm going to tell you again, that's financial violence. That is financial violence. Don't do it. Okay. Here's why. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. Okay. Number 1, we're going to refinance this loan. We're at $400,000 at 6%. I'm going to show you something. $400,000 at 6%. And generally, we're in a 5 to 7 year cycle when the interest rates are low enough for us to refinance. They said if you can save on 1.5 to 2 points, go ahead and refi. Okay. So if we're into this thing 5 years, let me show you what happens when we're in it 5 years. You've paid this loan down by $27,000, $27,782.43, and paid $116,000 in interest. Veronica says, why refi when you can pay it off? Listen, Veronica, you are so wise, because our average client pays off in about 7 years. But the bank wants you to stay in this loan for 5 years and then refinance it. Okay. Most of my clients are paid off in 7 to 9 years. But by not knowing, you're just waiting around making the regular payments to wait for a refinance. So now you have paid this loan down by $27,000. So now you're at $372,000. Okay. That's how much you owe on the loan. So we're going to copy that. We're going to duplicate the tab. Okay. And we're going to tell the program, this is how much I owe now. We're going to put in what I owe now. We're going to paste it in. Okay. 372,000. And let's just say we're fortunate enough to drop this down to 4%. All right. And refinance it. But we get a new 30-year loan. But here's our old payment here, $2,398.20. So we go from $23.98 to our new payment of $17.77. Oh my gosh. Isn't that great? Veronica say, yeah, like being close to the finish line and forfeiting the race. You could be 2 years away from paying it off if you use the P.I.L.L method. But if you do it the bank's way, you're 5 years in, and now you're going to start the clock all over again. And you turn a 30-year loan into a 35-year loan by refinancing at this point. So watch this, folks. I'm bringing down the payment because that's what we're told. We're bringing down the payment. But here's the other thing. There's one thing I left out. How much it cost to refi this. It costs about $10,000. So we got to go from 372,000. Okay. And then let's just do 372,000. Okay. Plus 10,000 would make it 382,000, because they're going to tell you to roll the fee into the loan. So it's 382,000. And we go from 1777 to 1824. Still cheaper than the other loan. Okay. But here's what I want to show you. Because you added $10,000 to this loan, okay, $10,000 to this loan, now you have to pay back the first $10,000 to get back to the original $372,000. And this is the financial violence part, $372,000. Watch this. How long does it take us to pay off $10,000? The first $10,000 isn't paid off for the first 18 months. It takes 18 months to pay off $10,000 to get back down to the $372,000 you were at when you first refied the thing. How much interest are you paying on the $10,000 for the closing costs? $22,647. Folks, if you borrow $10,000 and you pay back that $10,000 plus $10,000 in interest, that's 100% interest all day. If you pay $10,000 interest on a $10,000 loan, that's 100%. If you pay $20,000 interest on a $10,000 loan, that's 200% interest. Folks, is paying 200% interest on a $10,000 loan. Is that financial violence when you were thinking it was only 4%? Is that financial violence? When you thought it was 4 and it actually ends up being 200% interest. Could the bank have told you, the people who own the bank that you're getting ready to finance this for, and they're telling you to roll in the fee, could they have told you up front, by the time you pay back this $10,000, you're going to pay us $22,000 in interest? Could they have told you that? Could they have told you you're going to be actually paying 200% interest on this $10,000 loan? They could have, but they didn't. Look at this. Chantel says, like getting physically thrown through the bank vault. Oh my goodness. Folks, we're talking about financial violence today. How do we end financial violence? Now, here's another thing that we've been told. Take your high interest loans, cash out refi, all right, and roll that money into your loan. Let's just say, all right, I'm not going to do a whole new thing. Let's just say that on this loan, we have actually paid it down far enough that we have enough equity that for the $382,000, we have rolled in $60,000 worth of debt into this loan. Has anybody ever heard of you can save money by cashing out, taking cash out of your house, out of your equity, and paying off these loans, and you can save $1,000 to $2,000 a month on payments you never have to make anymore, and you pay off all of this other debt, and it's at this new low interest rate. You're paying off 10% loans, 15% loans, and some even 27% credit cards, and then you're led to believe you're rolling it into the mortgage at 4%. Veronica says that is financial massacre. Okay? Okay, folks. Watch this. To pay back the $60,000, okay, that you think is you're saving yourself a ton of interest, what happens? I'm going to go down to $60,000 here, folks. To pay off $60,000, it takes 94 months. 94 months to pay off $60,000. And you're going to pay $110,000 interest on that money that used to be those high interest loans, but you're going to pay $110,000 interest on 60 grand. So folks, that's like 180% interest. So you've taken your 27% loan, your 10% loans, your 15% loans, your high interest loans, roll them into the mortgage for a new 180% loan. You can roll in that $60,000 in, but you're going to pay back $110,000 in interest.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.